Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Tech Shack. And we're off to episode 22. Moving right along. Glad you're following us. Keep coming across. We love to see people come in. We're getting some great feedback from our audience. Please continue to support us. We hope to continue doing great things with Pakistan. Continuing along in our tradition of bringing some interesting people onto the show. Today I have with us a really bright young man. I was fortunate enough to meet him in person a couple of years ago. Lots of energy, very unique eventpreneur is what I guess I could call him. And he started up working with Startup Grind in Pakistan and has organized very large events, mass scale in Pakistan and in the US that highlight the Pakistan tech ecosystem. And he's a community builder. I'd like to welcome Arzish Azam. Assalamu
Thank you
alaikum,
so much.
Arzish. How are you today?
Walaikum Salam. Alhamdulillah, Walaikum Salam. Thank you so much, Faruk, for giving me this opportunity. It is an honor to be on this show where you've hosted some of the finest individuals from our ecosystem.
Thank you, Arzish. Glad to have you with us and would love to learn more about you and your story. So tell us, what's going on in Pakistan? What's up with Startup Grind?
Sure. So I'm currently the country manager for Startup Grind Pakistan. Startup Grind, for those of you who don't know, is the world's largest network and community of startups. We are in 600 cities in more than 125 countries. So I started this network in Pakistan, or revived this network in Pakistan around 3 years ago, and over time we have become the largest startup community in Pakistan as well. This COVID period has been a new time for us as well, because we are known for organizing physical in-person events every month in all these 600 cities. But when this work from home environment started, we went online as well. So over the past 3-4 months, we've done more than, I think, 200 virtual events for Pakistan. This also includes the Global Pakistan Tech Summit, which was an online version of the Tech Summit that we did in Silicon Valley and in Norway. And over this period, we've highlighted, I think, some 300 plus speakers as well, right? So we're trying to evolve with the world, but I think there's nothing that can beat the in-person experience of meeting other people in large conferences, and we really hope that this resolves as soon as possible and we can go back to doing awesome in-person events.
So Arzish, just and going a little off track here, but just wanting to understand with the COVID situation, now that we can't meet in person as frequently and we don't know when that's going to come back, what are you seeing as the impact of the virtual events? Are people as engaged as before?
Sure. So I think in terms of engagement, in a pre-COVID world, when you do a virtual event, it wouldn't be taken that seriously by the audience, right? So now we see like 80% attendance of people who register for like an event on Zoom. So that's an amazing part of this, right? That even if you do a virtual event, a high profile event, a lot of people come and join, right? Because it's the only way they can connect and learn and engage now. But
Right.
I think these virtual events, and we've done so many over the past 4 months, I don't think they can uh, kind of beat the experience of a physical event, right? From
No
an
doubt.
information point of view, yes, you can do a lot of sessions virtually with very less cost and very less, like much less hassle of doing a physical conference. But with physical events, there's this element of serendipity and meeting new people and having experiences. And we ran into each other at the open retreat in Orlando, right? So I haven't.
Right.
I, I think I've made so many friends over the years by just going to events and conferences and sessions, and I've made many less friends over the past 4 months, even after attending so many virtual sessions.
Understood. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see your point, and that's kind of the way. It's good to understand, and because I think some of the things that we're seeing is I get a lot of this, what I would call this new terminology, which is Zoom fatigue. Right?
Yeah,
Because so
absolutely.
many of us are on Zoom constantly, all day, all night.
Yeah,
And not only Zoom, I don't want to be prejudiced here, but any video interactive uh, conferencing capability
yeah.
that we have. So, anyways, well, great. Well, so moving along, Arzish. So, based on what I've seen and what you've seen in Pakistan, we see a lot of distinct efforts that are happening and being led by people like yourself. So, who else is out there doing what you're doing, and what's the impact of this?
Sure. So I think there's a large list of community builders who've been there, uh, since a lot of years before me.
Mm,
I only started this like the passion of community building and doing these events and stuff three
right,
years probably. And I think collectively, all of us together, all of the organizations who are trying to build the startup slash tech ecosystem of the country have uh, achieved a lot of like milestones in the past 3 4 years, right? So in the past 3 years, a
right,
lot of startups have raised some really good funding. There's been like very large exchange programs from Pakistan. Some of them, we organize obviously, but then there are ones by the State Department, by different donors and different organizations from the ecosystem who made it happen, like Nust and others, right? And
right.
then to look at the NICs, which are again, community building organizations at the end of the day, they have
Mhm,
created a lot of impact by incubating what some 300, 400 plus startups so far, and they'll
right.
be around, I think, for the next 3 4 years until their funding lasts from the government, right? So I think
Right.
collectively, this effort of actively building the startup ecosystem,
Hmm.
which I think still don't a lot of people don't understand why developing a startup ecosystem is important.
Hmm.
But we have started to see a lot of impact. Whether that is in terms of generating funding or getting sales or partnerships or getting people jobs or different opportunities. I think the magic honestly happens when you bring amazing people together, and they tend to do something great, right? So whether that's the National Incubation Center, where a lot of people like are in close proximity. I think that's what Silicon Valley does, right? There are so many
Sure.
amazing people, such close proximity. Obviously, Pakistan and maybe no other city can be at that level, but at least we are trying to follow that mindset of bringing people together.
Great. No, it's good to understand your perspective on that, because I'm seeing a lot of different people approach it from different angles, which is great because that
Yeah,
means the pie is growing, which is really
absolutely.
important. No, that's good. And lastly, I guess the question then is, Arzish, you're out there, you're the what I would call the eventpreneur, the community guy, a lot of energy, young, running around. What do you want from the diaspora? How can the diaspora help further?
Wow, that's a really good question. So, over the past 3 years, actually, I started the first private delegation or independent exchange program to Silicon Valley. The first year it was 22 people. Last year was the third year, and we were 50 people. And one of the key learnings that we learned, and honestly, it was a new thing for me, that when we came to Silicon Valley for this like very Gora conference, I would call, we learned that there are a lot of Pakistanis who've done considerably well,
Right.
especially in technology, whether that's, building companies, they're investors, they're in top positions in some of the top companies, globally, right? And in Pakistan, the disconnect is very large, I think, especially with the diaspora, which is working in technology, which is doing very well in technology.
Right.
And I think kind of bridging this gap, not just for the perspective of investment, which maybe Atif Khan is doing a very good job at it, but
Mhm.
also from the point of learning and sharing opportunities and working together, right? Because if you're sitting in maybe a very large corporation in Toronto in tech, you can help a lot of Pakistani startups by just sharing your knowledge as well, right? And we just want to make these connections happen in a very non-transactional way. We just want the diaspora to connect with the amazing change makers that are working inside Pakistan, and whether we do it by taking very large groups to Silicon Valley, to London, to Toronto, or we do it by inviting all of the amazing people like you to Pakistan, which we did last year with the Startup Grind Pakistan conference, where people like Raghib and Shoaib Makani and Atif Awan and like 40 other people from around the world flew in to join, right? So these are our different efforts to kind of bridge this gap, right? And I think the goal is very simple, that number one, first you need to kind of raise awareness on both sides, that, these are the amazing people working inside Pakistan, and these are the amazing people working outside Pakistan in technology. And then good things will happen automatically. People will start investing, whether that's formally through VC funds or informally through angel investment, or they'll form partnerships, or they'll form collaborations or job opportunities. I think the goal is to just connect.
No, that's brilliant. Well, that's good. It's good to hear and understand what what can be done from our side. And I think what you're basically saying is Pakistanis should continue to engage and do what they can with whomever they feel comfortable with, right?
Yeah,
We're
absolutely, absolutely.
okay. So we're and I think there are so many groups, and I think there's a comfort zone that develops with different people through the course of meeting people in these conferences. That's what I found.
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
what led me to this whole situation here. So, but in any case, listen, Arzish, great to have you on. Always awesome and exciting to hear about what's happening. And again, thank you very much for your contributions, your hard work. It's very visible, and we wish you the best of success. And I look forward to continuing to work with you in the future on this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much, Farooq, for starting this amazing initiative and then, inviting me to this as well.
It's our pleasure. And to our audience out there, thank you again for your support and patronage. Please continue to like, share, and follow us. We're on all the social media channels: YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm finding that as an old guy, I'm becoming very social media savvy. So please continue to support and like us in those spots. And I want to also thank our sponsors, Solaritas Solutions, Ashari Ventures, and of course, Open Silicon Valley. And with that, I bid you all Allah Hafiz. Please be safe and well. Take care and have a great rest of your day.